Oi oi, Savaloy. Secret Mere Project Part 2, we're back. We got here last night after a busy day's filming elsewhere, and to be honest with you, we were pretty wiped out, so we thought, all right, let's just get the rods out, won't worry about filming in the dark. And yeah, it was actually quite a hectic night in the end. This one came at first light this morning. Absolutely stunning little mirror, solid little thing. I think it's a male because it's starting to get those little tubercles, you know, little rough patches around the head and the gill plates. There's two more in this net, and there's two behind me. Absolute Billingsgate. Right, let's get these back, and we'll show you them quickly. So that's a cracker, isn't it? Lovely colours as well. A red mouth. Back you go, lipstick. Well, we've got a real mixed bag here. What should we go for next? Let's have a little look at the ghostie, shall we? Little long skinny ghostie. Pretty cool, showing himself off there in the morning sunlight. Glorious. Like a cricket bat him, isn't he? Right, you can go back and enjoy your day, mate. Thanks for the visit. Casper. Right, and then lastly in this net, got this lovely condition common, who's a little bit lively. Come on, mate. You've got to talk to him, like, you've got to tell him sometimes. I don't know if he can hear me through the water though. Mate, just chill out for a second and we'll get you back. That's it. Good lad. Stunning common, probably, I don't know, about 16, 17 pound. And he definitely wants to go back, so let's get him back. Wicked. Excellent start to our second session on the Secret Mere. Shall we have a look at these others? Well, there we go, another couple of characters. Last time we named this place jokingly Thornton's Mere because it really is like a box of chocolates, and it's proving that to us once again. I'm actually fishing in a different swim this time. Fancied a little change of scenery and a different area of water to fish. And last night when I got here, literally just smashed out 3 single hook baits into a zone that's got 3/4 of the way out towards the island basically, and spread a bit of bait around it, and probably only about 150 boilies or so, but I think they've cleared me out now because I haven't had any bites since well, probably an hour or so, sort of 45 minutes after first light. So yeah, it's time to top up the spot. I've only got 15 millies with me this time though, because I run out of bait this week, so I'm not going to be able to put them out with a stick, so I'm going to get out in a boat, spread a few about. And we've also got a little guest visiting us today. When he saw the last one, he was like, oh, I've got to come and check it out. So yeah, we'll catch up with him in a bit because he's mooching about at the moment, discovering the old Secret Mere. Mega. Right, let's get these ones back and time for a coffee, and then I believe Mike's got one to show us as well.
$25.5. Well, would you look at that? One of the bigger fish we've had so far. The average size is slowly creeping up, but we've had quite a few small ones still. We're just gonna hold hope that there are the bigger giants in here that we've heard about, but it's not a bad start to the bigger weights, is it? Absolutely immaculate common. Nice set of shoulders on it. It's clean as a whistle as well. It's looking good. After all them fish Joe's had and this one, I reckon there's going to be a few more coming our way this session. So fingers crossed. Happy days.
Right, so little top up. Like I said, I haven't got 18 millers with me, so I thought I'd get the boat out as well, take advantage of that. I've got a nice bag of boilies here. I've already spread a few about, but basically the idea is just to keep them grubbing around, but also there's a lot of fish in here, so the more fish you can get feeding, the more that's going to attract other fish into the zone, obviously, and obviously the more free food you can give them, the more bites you're going to get. So, however, it is easy to go over the top when you're out in a boat. I've just put half a mix of some bits and pieces straight on the float. Like last night I was just fishing, scattering the boilies and single hook baits around it, but I thought maybe with a lot more small stuff in there, it's going to really cloud up and, like I say, attract the other fish. But as well as that, I'm still going to spread probably a few kilos around this zone. Well, I've already put about 1.5 kilos out. It would be easy to just, like, you know, chuck 5 key in here, but it would probably be a silly move as well. Like I say, I can always top it up. It's just a case of, you know, enough out there to get a fair few feeding, but also I think if you give them a good amount of space to feed in, and if you hook one here and one over there is not going to be so bothered, do you know what I mean? You've got more chance of more fish staying there to feed and getting quicker bites, which has obviously worked so far because, you know, we've been having a fair few. So, yeah, lovely, glorious day in the sunshine, floating around in a boat. Life's not too bad, is it? Right, let's get this done, and then Mike wants to get out and put some more on his spot as well. So then we'll go and catch up with Mr. Big Ups himself and see how he's been getting on mooching about. Well, we've come on to what has been called Voodoo Island, and this is the first time me and Mike have stepped foot on here, but we've bumped into Alan Blair. Fancy seeing you here, bro?
Yes, Joe. Thanks for inviting me.
Mega place, mate, isn't it?
Mega. Like, seeing it in that first episode, I was just like, I need to have a go there, and I punished you a little bit, I know. Sorry.
Don't be silly, mate.
But yeah, like, they don't come round. Opportunities like this do not come round. Speaking with Ben this morning, even the purchase, you know, the places like this don't come up for grabs and that. So to be on this ground is pretty cool. Feel very, very privileged today.
Awesome. Well, you come up for a little recce, if you like, because obviously you've got busy schedule, busy man. So you brought a little boat with you, I see, which is very neat.
Yeah.
But we won't go into that because that's not something that's a product that you're doing, is it?
No, but it's a useful tool, you know, whether it's a yellow dinghy from down the seaside or a great big rib, you know, if you can if the venue owner, you know, will let you go out in a boat, can be a massive eye-opener, bruv, especially somewhere like this where, you know, what are we talking, maybe 30% of the bank's accessible,
yeah,
the rest is inaccessible,
yeah.
So just to drift around this morning, not that I've seen a great deal, but it doesn't leave you sitting there in doubt that they're all over the other side or saying, I've had a real good look around and that, so yeah, good tool for angling if you can get away with using one.
I think it's the smallest one I've ever seen.
Nah, smaller, you can get smaller.
Really?
I had a little one, an iBoat, I can't remember the model number, 2 foot smaller than that.
Wow.
Really unsafe. In the end, Kev was like that, nah, you're not using it anymore, get rid of it. Like, really unsturdy.
You ever had one of them ones that you can put your feet through?
Yeah, I got one.
You got one?
Yeah, I got one. I had a little go on
know?
it. Do you know, you have to, it's all backwards. So you think you're paddling forwards, like running, but actually you need to do it the other way to be like, they're mental. Try doing carp fishing out of one. They're obviously designed for flying, lure, a lot of catfish done in them.
Did you catch one in it?
I had the big common taking floaters on the church. I was like, fucking shaking. No, I haven't hooked one out of it, but I think it'd be really exciting getting dragged around and stuff.
Definitely. Yeah.
Now today was just about coming and seeing this place and having a little look. You obviously fished yesterday, had some fish, and that did trick me into bringing some rods and a tackle box, and just in case, but I haven't got the time today, and I think it's time better spent just having a little look. And yeah, I found an island. Cut a little swim, like, didn't go mental, just a very, very little bit of light pruning. And yeah, I can't wait to come back one day and do a bit of time.
Awesome. Well, you said, you know, you're just going to come along for a recce and you're going to kind of bring the stuff that you bring for that kind of normal situation. So what is that? What do you take on that kind of trip?
Number one, be my glasses. You know, you don't go anywhere without them. I had a little backpack, waterproof jacket and trousers, and a pair of waders. And that was kind of me sorted until I realised there was the opportunity to take the boat, and that kind of opens a lot more doors. So yeah, I've got a little boat with me, I've got an engine, a leisure battery, an oar. The engines are great, but they're noisy, bruv. So if you're going over shallow ground and there's any carp there, they just spook on it. So I always take an oar with me as well, and if I feel there are fish in the area, then I will just scull it really, really quietly. The prodding stick is probably the most useful thing. I don't know about you, I'm not very tech savvy, so the thought of, I have got an echo sounder, but the thought of knowing what button does what, it's just over my head. So I much prefer the old school way, which
Analog.
is, yeah, mate, with a pole and just, you know, just feeling. And I've found some really nice substrates out there. Some incredibly deep silt, you know, 2-3 foot deep, and probably deeper if I carried on pushing. Doesn't smell great. You know, it's not nice. You can bring these up and have a little sniff. You can see on there.
Okay,
Some like
so you got
sandy
holes in the bottom
clay, some harder, stony, gravelly areas. So all the different substrates. Not found any weed as such. Different depths. And yeah, just sort of using this, it allows me to ascertain, like, this is a nice flat area here. I can just work the stick, you know, in a particular direction and go, well, yeah, that's a dinner plate, you know, or a dinner table.
You feel little,
you can feel the depressions, you can feel the silt pockets. You just, like a rod, it's carbon, you know, and it's transmitting back up there, and you're just tapping away. And so that's a kind of essential for me when I'm using the boat. I've got some H blocks, which I have dropped a few out there on some interesting areas. They've got a purpose, but I never like to leave them out when I'm fishing. So it'd be a case of now wrapping up, clipping up on those spots.
Just because it's a potential snag that you're going to pick up.
Definitely, mate. It's only got to go around the back of it, and they've got big heavy leads on. What I might do, because I'm not fishing today though, I've got, just because they are quite unsightly as well, I've got a few champagne corks, so I'll probably replace those H blocks until I might come back tomorrow. I shouldn't, but I might come back Friday. I don't know, whenever you invite me and Ben invites me next up, so I might just pop a couple of them champagne corks out there just so it's not so blatant. And yeah, I've got a few other tools, got binoculars.
Always handy, isn't they?
Always handy, especially somewhere, you know, it's of a relative size. I can look all the way over there if I see a fish crash.
It's amazing how much you can see through binoculars.
Incredible.
Isn't it? You know, you think you see something, you put it on, you can see bubbles at, like, you know, 150 yards or...
Yeah. Little pair of secateurs, little saw.
Nice.
Just done a bit of light pruning, and I could quite happily move in here, Chloe, if you ever watch this. Like, this little island, me, 6 months of the year. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, this, to be honest, we're looking at the other islands, you know, this is probably the only one that you could actually have a swim on without some serious work, isn't it?
Yeah.
They've got quite steep banks. But yeah, from what we know of this end of the lake so far, from what you've seen today, is it's a lot shallower than that side. It goes very shallow round to the...
Definitely round to the right there. Here on this island margin, really shallow.
Yeah, but what was mad is in December I came over here and there was fish clouding up everywhere. There was fish on the top out here, and you know, in that shallow water where you wouldn't expect to find them, and sitting right on the top in places as well around the lake. You know,
get me excited.
Crazy. I could imagine if you were there, you would have just flicked a little slow sinking bunch of maggots at them.
Just in case I drifted over some, especially around the back here and that. I had a little sawn off with me in the boat. I've got some floaters in here, got a little pot of worms, a little pot of maggots, just in case.
Excellent. Love that. Cool. All right, well, I know you want to go and have another little look, don't you?
I'm going to go and have a mooch. The weather's so good. What are we now, 11:30
outside as well,
it
isn't
is, mate, but, you know, hopefully they've just come up that little bit higher. Maybe I'll find some this time around.
And I guess although, like, you know, you're a busy man with your fishing, in some ways it must be a bit of therapy for you with your crazy busy life.
Coming somewhere like this, Joe,
everything that's going on at work, you know, you can just go, right, I'm fishing.
Yeah, honestly, I sat down there this morning with some mango and watermelon. I was like, paradise, I'm living the dream. For a split second, like, I only get 3G here, which is fantastic. No good phone signal. I was just looking out, man, just like, this is why you get up in the morning. Well, it was this morning anyway.
It's funny actually, I'll just touch on that because, you know, now a lot of lakes these days, the modern lakes, they're putting like Wi-Fi in the swims and they. But exactly like you, when I go to a lake.
I'm buzzing,
and
mate.
I've
If I
got no
look,
reception- because a lot of the time I'm picking it up for no reason, you know, but, you know, I know for you it's more the case of, you know, dinging all the time and you're getting constant contact.
Not
but
today, it ain't.
Today, awesome. All right, mate, well, you go and have a little
Sweet.
drift around and, yeah, it's just gorgeous, isn't it? We might lap it up on here for a minute and then explore this island.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Let's go exploring. This is one of the first spots I stumbled across. It's shallow, maybe 2.5 foot, but it had some really nice crunchy sort of gravel. Definitely been cleared off. I'll just pop this stick down. I hope you can hear that. And it's a decent size, metre by metre, but really different compared to everything else in the surrounding area, which is very, very soft. Yeah, good couple of foot there. It's nice. We've got this channel coming through these two islands, another channel there. Good sort of interception point. You'll notice if I actually force my way through that sort of crust on top, that's it on top now, but so down to the actual lake bed bottom itself, it's seriously deep. That's what you're talking about there. Loads of silt, but yeah, up on top of the crust, it's literally just a couple of feet deep. What I'm going to do is I'm going to remove that H block and put a little cork down there. This one's very different to the other two. There's nothing hard down there at all. It's really soft. Like, stick to the top is, yeah, about there, and I can just feel it easily falling down into it. I'm talking many years worth of build up of silt and leaf debris and stuff. But you never know, they might really like feeding over that softer bottom. I know, speaking with the lads, they've caught them when they've had a great drop, they've caught them when they've not had such a great drop, so just keeps my options open. And on this one, I'm not going to put any flake or pellet. I'm just going to put a few whole pink ones, something that will hopefully retain their flavour over that pretty disgusting bottom. Just lightly spread them. Well, I've had a really enjoyable morning, sort of early afternoon. Had a good mooch around, found some really nice areas, and I've kind of got to head off now. I've got a Zoom meeting at 4 o'clock. I can't miss it. So yeah, need to get back in the office. I also had commitments tomorrow. I'm an angler, I'm going to rip them up. I've got to change the plan. I'm going to come back down here nice and early tomorrow and have my first day's fishing on the Secret Mere. I shouldn't be, but my heart's telling me get back down here for a session, so that's exactly what I'm going to do. Head off now, come and see the boys tomorrow.
Well, after having such a good hit the first night, it seemed like the obvious thing to do to put out a good amount of bait. However, not sure that was the right call after all, because last night was actually pretty quiet. I did manage a couple though. I had one at midnight, very similar to this, which I slipped back, and then had this one a couple of hours before it got light. As you can see, another absolutely mint condition secret mere common. What we've noticed is that the Argulus seems to be dropping off them now. It's like a little parasite, and there was quite a lot of them on the first session, but now there's a lot less, and a lot less leeches as well actually. So yeah, they're looking in really good condition. So far, we think there's been about 60 fish out. It's done half a dozen 20s up to £26. So yeah, we still think there's every chance that there's some good ones in here. There's obviously quite a lot of smaller ones, so we're just going to have to play the numbers game and keep going through them. But as you can see, by the way I'm lit up, it's a glorious day, and yeah, it's just lovely to be back out on the bank at night again. Obviously, you kind of take a lot of things for granted in life, but we need to be very grateful for these things, because yeah, when they get taken away, you realise how much you miss them. Right, we're going to get you back, mate. Sorry for keeping you for a couple of hours. Hopefully something's going to happen, because it does seem quite quiet. I think we're going to have to maybe make some changes and see if we can create a bite. But Alan's over the other side there, so we'll also go and catch up with him and see how he's getting on the old island Blair Witch project.
This is really rather pleasant. I love my fishing, I love my carp fishing, and maybe with the exception of float fishing and stalking, nothing beats this. Coming to a lake that's been hardly fished, with next to no swims, it's inaccessible, it's got islands, and I'm laying on one. I really am in a bit of a happy place at the moment. We've kind of come out of winter, the official spring start was weekend just gone, and it's starting to feel like spring. Sun's coming in and out at the moment, there's a nice breeze trickling in there. I just couldn't be happier. I've got my rods out, and yeah, I'm really excited to be down at the Secret Mere. Yesterday was incredibly useful, spending sort of 3 or 4 hours out in the boat with the prodding stick, having a look around, because it's sped up the process for me today. I probably got out onto the island about 7:30 this morning, and yeah, I've just gone through the motions of final sort of swim prep. There was a few Norfolk reed stems that needed cutting. I had to dig a little scallop into the ground as a kneeling point for when I was going to use the bushwhacker. Yeah, just got myself settled in and sorted. Rods are out, like I say, made somewhat easy by the groundwork yesterday. It was a case of these rods in this particular area here, where I had the corks and the H blocks, just shipping out with the bushwhacker. Identifying exactly how many sections out those H blocks were, looking at markers on the island, particular sort of tree lines, and then just recording it all in a little book. So this sort of left-hand spot, that's 11 plus 1, the plus 1's the sort of top section with the spoon on, and then I've got another rod out here towards that other island at 20 plus 1. I've put one rod really long. I did bring my bait boat. I've got a love-hate relationship with bait boats. When they work, they are amazing, and the RT4 is the best I've ever used, but this morning, for some reason, my pathetic tech skills couldn't get it working. So I put that rod out with the boat, and yeah, just put a little snide down here. Very, very close in. I got in the waders yesterday, I had a feel around, and it felt really, really good. You've got good canopy left and right. And yeah, that's me fishing. Haven't seen any shows. Like I say, it is a little bit blowy at the moment. Just really, really content and happy. Didn't go mad with the bait because I introduced, I wouldn't say a huge amount yesterday, but over the various different areas, in total maybe 1.5 kilos. I was kind of hoping that might have disappeared by the time I got back this morning. And my gut instinct, certainly on these two sort of shorter range spots here, is the bait has gone, because there was a couple of swans here earlier, and they would kind of ghost around that area. They would tip up, because it is shallow enough, certainly one is anyway, but they would kind of tip up for a split second and come back up again, which leaves me thinking that there isn't any bait left down there. So yeah, I'm fishing at the secret mere. Life really couldn't be any better, other than if I got a bite. And I'm pretty hopeful that might happen, but I don't think it's going to happen right here, right now. It's kind of the middle of the day. The boys that have been fishing it since the start of the year, they're only catching sort of first thing in the morning or last thing in the evening. Those kind of witching hours. I don't know if he's done any bites whatsoever in the middle of the day, so I'm going to ride it out. I hope I get one before I leave. If I don't, there is a slim possibility I might be able to come back tomorrow. I shouldn't even be here today. I was supposed to be filming elsewhere, but having spent a bit of time here yesterday, it's kind of got me hooked, so hence why I'm here. And yeah, if it doesn't happen today, I'll come back tomorrow for another go. That was somewhat unexpected. Just chilling there with Mike, chatting, plans for the year, just generally having a lovely time with a coffee. And I'm not even joking, there was no pre-warning, it was a simple whee! Come round here, the sort of buckled round, I've pegged it in luckily, thank God I pegged it in. And yeah, I've caught one. First fish from the secret mere. Absolutely wasn't expecting one to get one bright sunshine, middle of the day, but just down here, like 3 foot from the bank. I jumped in the waders yesterday, had a little wade around to make sure it was relatively firm, but more importantly flat, and I found a couple of different ledges and yeah, just laid it down onto it. Off it's gone. That is definitely an unexpected surprise. Of course, you go carp fishing, you expect to catch a carp, but I just didn't see it coming. And it's really nice to get, you know, the first fish from the new water. And also, you know that a spot's working. I'm confident in my rigs and my baits, but sometimes it can be about the location and the spot. So now I've had one bite, I'm pretty hopeful there might be another one or two to come. Mega. Oh, what a result, bite number 2. It's just gone 3 o'clock. And yeah, I didn't think I was gonna get a second one, certainly not on this rod anyway. I was half expecting maybe that margin rod to produce another bite, but it was a long rod, little 15mm cultured hook bait this time over, no more than a handful of flake, pellet and a few whole boilies. Yeah, right result. Crazy looking little mirror, so chuffed. The weather looks like it's changing quite quickly. We've got some big winds coming in. Definitely a bit of rain, it's already sort of drizzling. Hopefully I can get off this island before a torrential downpour, but yeah, mega.
Well, it's been quite a quiet day around here actually. Started off really calm and sunny, not particularly carpy, and now it's changed certainly for the better. got nice overcast skies. The pressure's starting to drop for the first time in about a week. Yeah, it feels pretty bang on, to be honest with you. Southwesterlies. I've just seen one lump out right over the back there against the tree line, and about an hour ago there was another one not too far away from that, so it looks like there's a few fish over there now. And obviously Al's had a couple over there, which is fantastic. I know he was absolutely buzzing to get down here and have a go, and to come here and do that prep work yesterday has obviously paid off massively for him. And yeah, I bet he's loving life over there, the old Blair Witch project on the island. So they've named that Voodoo Island. There's a couple of weird sort of masks on there, and yeah, so we were joking to Al that there's been a bit of witchcraft going on in there in the past. Blair Witch project, awesome. But yeah, it looks good for tonight. Certainly, I think they're going to get on that bait. I can't see how they can ignore that bait 2 nights on the trot. We know they're hungry fish. We know they like their food. So there's no reason why we shouldn't get a few bites between us tonight. But there's never any guarantees with fishing. So we'll see what happens. It feels bang on for one this afternoon. So hopefully one of these is going to rattle off soon. Come on, the old carp gods. What you got for us? Unknown 30-pounder.
It's actually started to pop off a little bit. Had a couple of tench, had a really nice mirror. Mike's come round to do some pictures of that for me, 2310. Another rod's just gone. I'm on borrowed time really, got about maybe an hour and a half's fishing left. Sun's just dropping, but yeah, it's been a really good afternoon. Another mega mirror. God, this is someplace proper. What a way to end the afternoon. I said earlier, there's nothing greater than coming somewhere wild and a little bit raw, and especially fishing off an island. So the only thing that is better than that really is catching a few while you're there. And that's exactly what's happened today. I put a lot of the success down to those sort of 3 or 4 hours yesterday. It's helped me no end with regards to sort of prep work and disturbance, and allowed me to sort of tip up today and yeah, angle well over the top of those spots. One on a citrus on a Ronnie Claw, one on a Scope X Squid cultured hook bait on a little Slip D rig, both in the same area. Yeah, mega result. And I think that's me done. I could probably squeeze another 45 minutes, an hour out of it. But you know what? I'm gonna get packed up, get off this island, get home, and make Chloe happy for turning up a little bit earlier than planned. Big ups Ben, big ups Joe and Mike. Thanks for having me down. I look forward to my next trip down to the Secret Mere. I thought I was going home. How's your luck? But that's it, I've got to get packed up. One for the road, eh? How's your luck? Well, truthfully thought that brace was going to end it, but I have had one more. And to be fair, I've still got one rod out, so however long it takes me to get all this stuff packed up and back on the boat, there might even be another bite on the cards. But if there isn't, once again, big thank you. I've had a really enjoyable day.
Well, hey, look at him. Lovely coloured common, that one. A nice sort of bronzy, golden hues to it. He's got a nasty spike on his fin as well, so I'm going to call him Spike Milligan. Not that we'll ever recognise him again, I'm sure. There's lots of commons in here that look very similar. But if you were to take pictures of every one, I'm sure you'd be able to find unique little features to make sure you know which one's what. But yeah, this one come on a solid bag. Just thought I'd try something different. I normally use like an 8mm pop-up in a solid bag, something really small, but because these fish are still a little bit green, I wanted something a bit brighter and more in your face, so I used a trimmed down larger pop-up, which probably ended up about 14mm, in amongst a bit of pellet and a couple of crumbed up boilies. And yeah, it's done the business. Happy days. I reckon we should be in for a couple tonight, but never count your chickens. Right, let's get you back. Awesome. Well, after shaking off that migraine yesterday evening, I was absolutely loving life. Sat in my bivvy last night, tying up rigs, sharpening hooks, listening to a bit of music, singing, whistling. I was a new Joe, and I was ready for the night ahead. And I actually managed 5 last night. It was a busy one, to say the least. But yeah, I had 3 commons and 2 mirrors. But madly enough, one of the mirrors I had was old black spot, which I had at the beginning of this session. So yeah, mad to get a repeat so quickly. As you can see, this one's a lovely chunky common. Seems like his stomach's already filling up with eggs, I presume. Unless he's just been properly on the munch, but looks a bit egg-like to me. So yeah, once again, we're gonna wrap it up there with an awesome session at the Secret Mere. Obviously, it was lovely to have Al down, and he thoroughly enjoyed himself and done himself proud as well. As usual, Alan works like a machine for his angling and gets the results as a result of that. Awesome. Right, we're gonna get these 2 back and hit the road. Got a nice weekend ahead, and next week we're off to Raysbury, which we're both super excited about. A couple of nights on an island, just me and Mike. Oh, sounds romantic, doesn't it?
Personal touch. So this is something that I've been doing to all my bottom bait rigs since about 2002, and something I'd never seen in print, but it came about through experimenting in the edge when I was stalking carp on the Blue Pool out next door to Burfield, back when it was a Cemex venue then, and one of the best margin stalking waters that I've ever had the pleasure of fishing. And you could watch the fish for hours. If you put bait in certain areas at the foot of the shelf, they would always come in and take you on. Absolutely incredible. And the great thing about it was because it was a gravel pit, you never got any disturbed sediment clouding up the water. It was quite a hard sandy bottom, so the fish could feed there in full view for hours and you'd be able to see every detail. Amazing. What I tried to do there was, because the fish on occasion could be quite riggy, I wanted to find a way of hooking them independently of the lead. And the most logical way to me it seemed to do that was by incorporating a weight near the hook. And I played around with sliding drilled bullets, which I still play around with now, but really the best method that I found for casting and for general usability, if you like, was a big lump of putty fixed generally about 2 inches below the hook. And that was a real game changer for me and continues to be to this day. In fact, all my rigs have got it on now. Big lump of putty, and as soon as the fish picks that up, you are causing them a lot of problems. If you sharpen your hooks to the level that Joe and I do, that in conjunction with a lump of putty, the game's over before it's even in touch with the lead itself, and then all the weight of all the line behind that, and then the clip on the reel, it's done. And there's no doubt in my mind that that combined with the hooks, even if you didn't sharpen your hooks like that, but if you just use that lump of putty for bottom baits, then you are dynamically giving your rig something totally different to anybody else's rig. As soon as that fish takes the hook into its mouth, there is a few grams of weight hanging over that bottom lip, pulling that hook point down. And every now and again, I think when I've caught a really rare, unusual fish, I wonder how much of a role, or I know how much a role that has played. It's played a significant part in the whole process, in my opinion. And the first really big fish I caught on it was a fish that had not been caught for 7 years. And I started catching tench from that particular lake as well, and I never caught tench from there. So yeah, it's a little thing that I do, and I'm pleased or humbled to see that it's now becoming, you know, quite a lot of my friends doing it, a lot of people do it now. It's not particularly new, I'm not claiming to have invented it or anything like that, but I'd never seen it in print at that time, and it's something that I've used for nearly 20 years now, and I think is a significant little edge.
Favourite free captures. First one of those really easy. That'd be Scaly from Raspberry 2. It's just everything about it was perfect. It's one of those fish I'd looked at for years in books, and I'd seen people holding, and it's almost just like the perfect carp in the perfect carp lake. You know, it's a beautiful lake. It's probably, in my opinion, probably one of the best free carp in the country. Probably that. The client that was in Fen Drayton, Jamie's Lynn in Roach Pit, is kind of that ilk. So catching that one, definitely, as well as the photos I got done of it. It was just the perfect morning with kind of all the yellow with the flowers that have come out behind us in the reed bed. Having Rue Whiteman there on the camera is just epic. He's master at just perfect catch shots. And one of my closest friends, Mike Leck, there as well, who poked his head out the bushes about 2 minutes after I'd actually netted her, which was brilliant timing as ever. So should be number one. Number two will probably be first French 50 pounder, which was last year. Only really started going over there a couple of years ago. Doing probably a little bit different to the norm. I decided from day one it was going to be public lakes, big waters but not massive. So I kind of went on my own, just did a solo trip in September. So I went to a 400-acre barrage down in the Midi-Pyrenees, and kind of 5 days in, after a very long drive, caught an absolute tank of a mirror. I think it was 51 something, whatever it was, but almost like your perfect wild, like mountain carp, massive, great mouth on it, from where it was like bulldozing rocks out the way to get the crayfish, and like the frame of it and the photos, it was just like that. It was huge. Probably right time of year, probably a 60 pound, I would imagine. It was just a tank of a thing, but again, it was just the environment, the trip, the fact you're there on your own, like stood in the middle of nowhere up to your knees in like 400 acres of water, looking down on this thing in the net. Probably one of the biggest buzzes I've had in probably over 30 years carp fishing now. Number three would be Leachy's Common out the Island Lake. Reason for that, it was probably the first carp I ever really targeted and really wanted to catch. And being like, you know, I work long hours, I've got a full-time job, and when you're trying to take on those big pits on the weekends and on limited time, it can be really, really, really difficult. It was one of those fish that had a pattern to it. I don't think it is so much anymore, but back in those days, about 10, 11 years ago, used to love getting caught in the 48 hours after a new moon. So you were booking all your holidays around it, trying to get in the swims where you know it's come out of. And the year before I caught it, I missed out on it literally by a hair's breadth. And the following year just went absolutely all out for it and ended up with this last capture of the year. That year, still a PB Common to this day, 46 pound 5, I think it was. And it was probably that fish that just actually said, you know what, you know, yeah, working full time, only getting your weekends and your holiday, big lakes, relatively low stock, big fish, it is doable if you're willing to put the effort and the time in. So yeah, so I think there's probably my top three captures, or favourite.
Well, it's moments like this that makes me realise just how lucky we are to be carp anglers. It's golden hour, sun's dropping over a big old lake, rods are out, seen fish in the zone. All is well in the world. So I left it about 9 days, 8-9 days, and I was itching to get back. I wanted to drop back on long reach, obviously after the old friendly still. However, the swim I was fishing, someone dropped straight into when I left last time. I had a 30 pounder out there, and then it sounds like I've seen a bit of attention since. Not just that though, summer's returned and the boats are going to be out in force for sure the next few days. And at the moment when the boats are out, we're really limited as to how much of the lake we can fish, you know, literally a 30-yard strip of one bank. So it's not really the one. So I thought I'd have a little wander over to, I was going to say the meadow, but I'm actually on the fjords and the stake pit because I found half a dozen big uns today in the stake pit. I'm speaking quite quietly because kind of this is the time of night I'd expect them to be coming in and out of here. So yeah, I've set 3 traps, hoping that there's a chance that they're going to be back in the morning, or potentially going to drop down for a little munch on the way out this evening. But yeah, the brown come out probably a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, 47 pounds, so that's absolutely massive. Who knows, it might be up here sulking, and not many people fish up here either, so I think that always helps. Right, it's time to chill for the evening, but yeah, I'll let you know what guana in the morning. Guten Morgen. Right, little catch up for you. I've done one night on that gap next to the stake pit and woke up in the morning super early, and well, it was just a magical morning to be honest with you. The moon was out, it was like a crescent moon, and then Venus was next to it. There wasn't a cloud in the sky, and then yeah, obviously the sun come up, beautiful still morning. There was a couple of fish about, a little bit of bubbling, but yeah, I just had an itch to get back to long reach to be honest. With the new moon coming this week, just fancy that friendly to be out soon, you know. It's all right, it's been 4 years, so you could say that at any point, but yeah, you got to believe, haven't you? And obviously I'm not going to catch it when I'm on a different lake. So yesterday, packed up round there, come to the pipe swim, because I thought, right, I want to get some bait in there. We've got a new northeasterly coming in the next couple of days, so I wanted to get some bait on that spot in that area. And then I had a look behind me, and lo and behold, there was actually quite a few big uns in the fjords in that little bay I've been baiting for a while. I did think to myself, you know, because there was a couple in the stake pit yesterday morning and they didn't look that big. I thought, well, where's that bigger group gone? And yeah, there they were. I had a little go for them on the spot that I've been baiting, but they just didn't look like they wanted to drop down and feed at all. I was a bit scared to have a little go on the surface, but just because I thought I'd spook them. But yeah, if they appear again in there today, I'm definitely going to be putting a bit of bread out or trying to stick a few chummies out and hope that the seagulls don't clock them. So for now, we've got a big badass boat on the water this morning. I've never seen it before. It's a big black one, and it came with like 3 matching vans. It looks like they're a proper outfit, you know, a team. And that swim that I was in, you know, the spot I fish out there is at range, and I just, yeah, well, obviously you're not allowed to fish at range at the moment anyway when the boats are out, so that's that. So I've come up here to where I was fishing the last couple of trips, where I've had 5 from in 2 sessions. It's a nice shallow area out here. They definitely like it out here when it's warm, and I think when the boats are out, sometimes that pushes them even a bit closer to this bank. So yeah, I'll come up here for the afternoon and hopefully we'll wingle one out. Winkle, wangle, whatever. Oi. Right, I've had a little change of scenery. Long reach was just dead this week. Very little showing, very little bubbling, and yeah, I fancy the change of scenery. So I've come over to the meadow. There was fish showing out here this morning. I turned up just after they stopped showing, to be honest with you. I just saw one show, but my friend is sort of 250 yards up the bank in the corner. He said there was a few showing out between him and Lancaster, and a few in front of him as well. So I've actually come halfway up that bank, which is a new swim. I think it got cut out a couple of months ago, which is double handy because I was going to cut one out myself 3 months ago when I first started over here this year, but ended up getting distracted by long reach. Good distractions, of course. But yeah, I haven't seen anything since getting the rods out, but they don't really show much in the day in here anyway. Normally it's evenings or mornings when you see them. So I'm pretty confident that there's going to be a few fish about in the morning, and I've put out half a bucket of bait out on 2 different spots, or a bucket between 2 spots, only fishing sort of 20-30 yards, and well, just this side of the first bar basically. There's a nice little gravel strip out there. I put out a nice mixture of link, tiger nuts, got some pellets in there, put a couple of tins of fish, so there's loads of attraction, you know, lots of scent going through the water, and hopefully I can send out a little scent trail which they'll pick up on. And I think in here, if you get on these fish at the moment, chances are there's going to be a few of them, so I think they could tear through half a bucket of bait in no time. But if I can get one bite as they pass, then I'll be more than happy.
Backwind, and what would I have done differently in this situation? Yeah, it's a terrible story for me to tell, but it's true. Fishing over on Yateley, anyone that knows Yateley knows the history of the place and how difficult it is and how tricky the fish are to catch. And it's the start of the season over there, and I came out last in the draw as usual. I normally always do, and I picked a swim called the Chair, and or Brute's Corner they call it. And in the swim to the left, there's a nice canopy of trees that just hang over. It's all been cleared underneath, it's all snag free, and the front of the swim's just nice and gravelly, little, you know, just drops away shallow. You could walk out if you wanted to. And then Brute's Corner's to the right. Anyway, when I arrived, I did see a big common glide underneath the canopy, so I thought, oh, this ain't a bad choice, although I come out last. Anyway, fishing a rod along the canopy, was allowed to use a remote boat then. Very few occasions that I do use them, but on there you 100% needed one because the trees had grown over so low that you couldn't even cast the rod out anyway, and you weren't allowed to wade to get the height, so you had to use a boat. Anyway, down this canopy, one of them little boats, I just dropped off a rig in a beautiful little spot, all shingly, I could see it from up the trees, double black tiger and a bit of hemp. So the baits are out perfectly. I was fishing a drop-off lead, the way we used to do it years ago. It was lead core wrapped around an inline lead. You just put the swivel in the rubber bead and wrap the lead core around, and it works really well. Anyway, got the rods out that night, and luckily for me, I had a take, I can't remember the time, 1 o'clock in the morning, and I've landed a magnificent carp by the name of the Big Orange. I think it was 45 odd pound, I can't remember, but I'm absolutely blown away. I've caught one of the Yateley A team, and yeah, I was up all night socialising and celebrating and couldn't really sort of sleep after that. So the next day I'm set up, I've still got a rod down there, but I've got another rod fishing the same tactics on the bar, and the setup's a bit unstable due to all the roots and that in the swim. And I've had a take. I'm actually, where I've been tired all night, I'm actually sort of falling asleep dribbling and that in the sun, and the rods are gone. One rod had gone, but both were going because it was unstable. I picked the rod up that had the line clip pulled, and it was away. Unfortunately, it weeded me up, and a couple of lads that were on the other bank or up the trees or wherever they were, they told me after, they was watching dustbin and one of the new stockies feeding on the area that I'd baited with the hemp. So I'd hooked into one of these fish. Anyway, the rescue boat came out, so we jumped on board, and as I paddled past the bush canopy that I'm fishing, Arthur's sitting there. This was Arthur's territory. She loved Brute's Corner and she loved that area. And to be fair, the fish were probably starting to gather up, getting ready to spawn. So I probably had a big part of the A-team, if not all the A-team, in that vicinity, in that area. Anyway, we paddled out past Arthur, wished her good morning, and carried on to try and rescue this fish that unfortunately got off. So that was that done with. Come back to the bank, got the rods out for the night. And during the night, about 1 AM again, I could hear fish out there, I knew they were there. The left-hand rod's absolutely motored off. So once again, I'm in battle position, rod bent double with a real hard fighting heavy carp on, and it's gone out into the open water, away from the bush, and I'm giving it side, and I'm winning the battle, and I felt the lead come off and the fish has hit the surface. I've more or less beat it. I can hear it clooping about on the top, and I'm thinking, oh my God, what have I got now? It's one of the big ones, it's got to be. And as I'm playing it in, without even thinking that the fish is on the surface, because the last fish came in okay under the canopy, I've basically just wound it into the tree, into the snag, and like an idiot, on my part, it's got caught up in the snags and shook the hook free, and it's gone. Absolutely devastated. I've lost one of the big ones out of there. You know, it could have been any one of them. So I was absolutely furious. I remember getting my head torch on and saying, oh, I really got the ump, and I put the boat back up the canopy again, baited it up, went back to bed thinking that's my chances now. 5 o'clock in the morning, I'm away again. And being stupid as I was, I played it exactly the same. The fish powered off, gave it side, felt the lead come off. Another big fish, could have been any one of them big ones that I hadn't caught. Could have been Arthur, could have been Heather, could have been Pearly Tail, Little Orange, could have been any of them, Dustbin, who knows. Anyway, it 100% was one of them. Lead's come off, fish has hit the surface, I've won the battle, wound it into the trees again, fish shook the hook and come off. You know, I don't know why I didn't just get in the water and wade out past the bush in the shallow gravel and play it from the other side. I mean, in hindsight, or, you know, if I could have backwinded and done it again, now I would have 1,000,000% done that, and that cost me dearly. It really, really did. And to make matters worse, the next day, one of the lads see Arthur right up the top. I can't remember what they call it, the secret swim or something, right up in the corner sulking. So I would 100% say I lost Arthur that night. I possibly lost Heather or Pearly, one of the two. Anyway, it didn't end there. That was a terrible, terrible time. But on a trip sort of after that, a week or so later, I'm fishing in Waiting Man's, and I've walked down to the gate corner snags, and I've seen 2 fish feeding, leaves coming up to the surface, bits of debris off the bottom, they're having it. So with that, I've grabbed my gear, I've run round to the gate swim, and put a rod out there. There was a tiny little sort of Y in the tree canopy, and I just dropped it there, nice and safe. The 2 fish that were under there were one called the Pineapple. It's got a very small mouth. It's like a fully scaled, and it apparently came in from someone's fish tank, or the story goes, something like that. Still a really desirable fish to catch, quite a tricky one to catch, maybe because of the size of its mouth. And the other one was Baby Orange. I'd already had Big Orange, this was now Baby Orange, one I dearly wanted. So anyway, I put the rod out, only fished one rod over to the area. Sitting there, I remember reading my book, right hand rod's gone, and I'm into it, playing it. It's come out of under the canopy, started steaming off through the weed beds. I see all the bubbles coming up, and the hook's come out, and I've lost it. I'm thinking, oh, I'm so unlucky. I mean, what else can go wrong? So I lost that fish, went back round there, Pineapple's gone. So obviously she'd picked my bait up, it's only got a little mouth, somehow the hook's come out. Baby O's still there feeding its head off. So I thought, well, you never know, just in for a penny, like, let's give it a go. Put the rod back out, and long and behold, rod screams off, on a tight clutch, rod bends round, lead comes off, as before, when I was up in the chair swim. Fish comes up to the canopy, underneath the canopy, and absolutely goes berserk underneath all the branches, going mental. I couldn't do nothing with it. It was just thrashing around on the top. Got the boat out again, and she'd unhooked herself and escaped to freedom. And there was me, like, really, like, just wanting to commit suicide, really. I've just lost, when you add it up, I've had the Big Orange, more than likely lost Arthur, possibly lost Heather, possibly lost Dustbin, did lose Pineapple, did lose Baby O. Oh, what could have been, eh? In hindsight, I wouldn't have dropped the bleating leads, no way. There you go.
Right, hindsight of life. That's a good one, that. A bit of advice I'd give to my younger self. First of all, I'd say find something you really enjoy doing and try and get a job in that, because whatever your job is, it's probably going to take up a hell of a lot of time, and if you don't enjoy it, you're not going to be as happy as you could be. Obviously, you are the master of your own destiny, and so, yeah, whatever you want to do, you can do it if you want to do it enough. you've just got to go at it with the right attitude and want it. You've got to desire it, and that desire will fuel your action to succeed. So yeah, if someone would have told me that when I was kind of in my early 20s, I would have saved myself a lot of time worrying and stressing and what have you. But so that's a good one for life in general. Another good one for life in general is just try and be polite and friendly to everyone. You know, there's no point being like nasty to anyone really, you know, and if you're friendly and polite to other people, then they'll be friendly and polite to you. So yeah, I think it all goes down to that kind of law of attraction thing. What you give out, you get back, you know, so yeah, give out positive vibes and hopefully you'll get positive vibes back. And the other one, going on a similar kind of note, would be to focus on what you want rather than what you don't want. And yeah, just in general, be grateful for what you've got, because gratitude is one of the keys to happiness, really. So yeah, that's enough of me whittling on and on about life, but there's some good little tips there if you take them on. But fishing itself, I'd say spend more time looking and making sure you're in the right place than anything else, you know. I've spent so many years and so much time wasted playing a guessing game, but I think if I would have spent a lot more hours actually looking rather than trying to guess where the fish are going to be and what kind of spots that they want to feed on, I would have caught more. So yeah, be more mobile and make sure you're on fish, because that is far more important than any rigs or bait that you're going to chuck out there. Not that they're not important, you've got to use the right thing in the right place, but yeah, the right place is everything.